Greetings to everybody. Hello, how are you? Can you hear me okay? Please let me know. How's the audio and visual? Is it okay? Everything okay? Thank you, Darren Williams. We can hear you. If you have any question, just let me know now and I will try to answer them. We have about 1 hour for this meeting, so just send in the questions if you have any, or any comment if you like. For Morris Twig, good morning, Ajahn Suchart, Abhijato, Anumodana Satu. I can hear you, Ajahn. Thank you. Are you working today, right now? What time is it over your place? Must be late, right? 5 hours, 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Darren Williams, I will ask first. Is samadhi and jhana the same thing? Samadhi and jhana is more or less the terminology that describe the same thing. Samadhi just covers a general term. Samadhi means the state of calm of the mind, while jhana indicates which level. There are about eight or nine levels of samadhi. Jhanas are the different level, divided into two distinct levels, Rupa jhana and Arupa jhana. It indicates the intensity of the concentration and calm of the mind. The Rupa jhana is not as concentrated as the Arupa jhana. What is the difference between Appana Samadhi and Upacara Samadhi? Appana Samadhi is the state of calm, like all the jhanas is called Appana Samadhi. Appana Samadhi start at the fourth Rupa jhana, in which the mind becomes concentrated, calm, and still, merely knowing and having upekkha as the quality of the mind. While Upachara Samadhi is a type of samadhi in which the mind go out from Appana Samadhi to experience psychic power, such as contacting spiritual beings, or the ability to read the mind of other people, or the recollection of past lives. This is done in Upachara Samadhi. So Upachara Samadhi has no upekkha because the mind is not still, it's still working. While Appana Samadhi, the mind is still not working, not functioning. Appana Samadhi is the right Samma Samadhi to support the practice of Vipassana, while Upachara Samadhi is the wrong or Miccha Samadhi, which cannot support the practice of Vipassana or the development of Panya or wisdom, because it lacks upekkha, the strength of the mind to resist the defilement. I hope this is more or less my explanation. I hope you will understand. If not, you can ask further. Okay, it's 10 p.m. in the Netherlands for Morris Twig. Thank you. From Sajao Ka, dear Ajahn, hear you very well. Very grateful for your teachings. You are welcome. Ajahn, you sound so old. I just want to speak slowly, clearly, intentionally. And maybe because I just got up. It's about 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. here in Thailand. From Pam Helen, good evening from Norway. Ka. Hope Prajan is doing well. It's almost 10 o'clock in Norway. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock now. Tam, namaskar. Check LinkedIn. Greetings from Vancouver, dear Tanajan. Hope you are well. We are keeping the 8 precepts today. It's Friday afternoon here. Thank you. I hope you are well also and practicing the Dhamma. Besides keeping the 8 precepts, you have to also meditate. You have to train yourself in mindfulness as much as possible, because the 8 precept is there to clear you from all other activities so that you will have the time to meditate. If you just keep the 8 precept and not meditating, then you are not benefiting from keeping the 8 precept. The 8 precept is to help you meditate, because when you keep the 8 precepts, you cannot do other activities such as entertainment or any kind of sensual pleasure activities. From Jenilin Poor, good morning Mahajan. I am from Selangor, Malaysia. Satu Satu Anumodhanami. The audio is good, very clear. Thank you very much. From Seth East, Namaskaran Tanajan. When I meditate, I drop into vibration. Before was very joyful vibration for 3 to 4 months. Now just drop to vibration. Do I just continue to ignore it? Yes, I think if you have any vibration, it means your mindfulness is not strong enough or not continuous enough. When you meditate, you have to tie your mind to a meditation object, such as the breath or a mantra. You should not just sit and do nothing, because then the mind will not be under control. Then it will start to vibrate as it happens to you. To prevent it from vibrating, you have to focus on your breath continuously, or using a mantra, reciting a mantra continuously. Do not stop doing it. And this will then stop the mind from vibrating and also lead the mind to jhana, to peace and happiness. Pam Helen replied to check, Satu, I already had the 8 precepts in 1 month in March 2021. Very good. If you can keep the 8 precepts, then you must have the time to meditate. From Mandy Smith, good afternoon from Niagara Falls. Good afternoon to you, Mandy. I hope you are well. From Morris Twig, when I practice meditation on Bhutto, finally Bhutto disappear and calmness and awareness arise in my heart. I continue practice on my breathing, which still appear. Yes, if your mind is still active, if your mind is not completely still yet, then you should focus on your breath or continue on with your mantra. until your mind eventually drops into perfect stillness and has ubekkha, meaning the mind has no emotion, no love, hate, fear, or delusion. When I do that, it's like my body arises from the ground. Lightness, I am aware of this. How I continue my practice, Ajahn. Just as I say, if you can watch your breath, keep watching your breath. If you can still recite the mantra, recite the mantra. If you don't, if you cannot watch your breath or recite the mantra, then just keep using mindfulness to keep the mind still, not thinking, not doing anything. Just focus, just be aware, merely aware. From Mandy Smith, thank you so much for your energy and time, Ajahn. You're welcome. I really enjoy talking to you, meeting you from time to time, because giving Dhamma talk is also a pleasure. The test of Dhamma excels all tests, and giving Dhamma can give you this test of Dhamma. Ajahn from Darren Williams, in deep sleep, are you aware of it or only when you come out of it? You become aware when you come out of your sleep. When you're sleeping, you're not aware of it. That's why time passes so quickly when you're sleeping, because you have no mindfulness. Darren Williams, again, Ajahn, do all things appear within awareness? Or this is not true. All things appear through the five sensual organs. You have to have the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body to perceive the sensual objects, just as forms, sounds, smell, taste, and contact of the body. They are anicca, dukkha, anatta. They are true, but they are temporary. They come and go, depending on the conditions that create them. Darren Williams, is it not better to watch the awareness instead of breath? If you can do that, okay also. If you can just keep being aware and not thinking, then you don't need to use the breath. But if the mind is still doing things, then you should use the breath or the mantra to stop it from doing things, like thinking or perceiving. Darren Williams again, would you not agree that there is an independent reality before the five senses that is perceiving everything, including those senses? Well, the independent reality is the mind itself. The mind is forever. The mind has always been in existence, and it has always been being aware of things. But it generally is being aware of the sensual objects more than any other thing. Only when you meditate and calm the mind, that's when the mind will experience a different type of perception. The perception of emptiness, calm, peace, and happiness. From Morris Twig, thank you for your answer and guiding, Prajan. Take good care of your health, Prajan. My body have to take a rest now. Tomorrow I must wake up early. Anumodana Sadhu with you all. Good night to you. Have a good rest so that you can wake up early and go to work. From Alejandra Kaha or Kaja. Good morning from Tenerife, Spain. Thank you for your presence and teachings. Sometimes in deep meditation, my breath becomes so shallow that it seemed like it was going to stop. I try to ignore, but sometimes it is difficult. Any advice, Satu? If you cannot ignore, then maybe you should use the mantra, recite the mantra, Bhutto, 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 instead of watching the breath. You need to have something to focus your mind, to stop your mind from working, from doing things. So from reacting. So you can switch from watching the breath to recite the mantra instead. From the Bertie, Namaskaran Ajahn from Medan, Indonesia. How are you? Thank you for coming in and participate in our meeting. Jenilin Poor Mahajan, I am observing 8 precepts since 31st of December 2019, but I still go to work as a cook at people's house. The question is, can I go to work if I'm observing the precepts and earn a living? Sadhu, please advise. Definitely, you can keep the 8 precepts and work also, if you find that it doesn't interfere with each other. But mainly the 8 precept is there to support your meditation. But if you cannot yet meditate because you have to work, that's all right also. You can train yourself by observing the 8 precepts for now. And when you're not working, then you can use the 8 precepts to support your meditation practice. Okay. So far, so good. Can you see on the screen the number of people joining this live broadcast? Because on my screen it doesn't show. Today I'm using the 3G to connect with the internet because my Wi-Fi is not working today. So it might be a little bit slow. From Sandy Ong, good morning Ajahn. From Go Chin Chuan, good morning Ajahn. Good morning to you both. From Sandy Ong, yes. Darren Williams, no. So there's no number of people watching. That's because maybe my connection is slow. It's not capable of showing it. Oh, Mandy Smith can see the number 22. Thank you. Sandy Ong 22. Okay. From Checkling 10, it shows 22 people watching right now on my screen, Dhanajan. Thank you. It doesn't show on my screen. Maybe because I'm using a slow connection today. Okay, thank you. Sajalka, 22 people also. I have this Wi-Fi problem for the last 3 days now. Since we have a strong lightning, thunder, maybe it's the cause that caused the Wi-Fi connection to come loose. But today, I will have the technician to come and take a look at what's wrong with it. Darren Williams, Ajahn, how should we deal with pain caused by the body in meditation? You should ignore it by concentrating on your meditation object. If you cannot focus on your breath, then you have to use the mantra, reciting Bhutto, Bhutto, or some other mantra if you like. I use Anicca, Anicca when I sat down and I felt the body pain, and then I switched from watching my breath to reciting the mantra Anicca, Anicca, Anicca. And that take the mind away from the pain and eventually calm my mind and allow me to sit and observe the pain without having any reaction. Alexa Ru Arucha or Aruka. Dhamma is all around us. I turn on the laptop and you are live. Hi Ajahn, this is Alex, Holland, Brazil. Yes, I remember you. Sorry, today we cannot see your face. My mom, Ajahn, if once or twice a Dhamma student tastes the flavor of jhana through rapture, would that be an indicator that he is not a Pata Parama horse? Thank you for your attention, Sadhu, Sadhu. Yes, if you experience any form of result from your meditation, it means you are not a Pata Parama horse. You are ready for enlightenment. So keep on practicing. If you can meditate and experience some flavor of jhana, that means you are close to enlightenment. Try to develop as much jhana as possible until the mind becomes strong to resist your defilements, to resist your cravings. Then you can develop wisdom to get rid of your cravings permanently. From Darren Williams, Ajahn during breath meditation a few weeks ago, the quality was so good that there was stars in the mind and I was pulled into a drowning experience, and then I came out and the concentration was gone. It would be better if there was nothing at all, if there was only emptiness, because that's the real goal of our meditation, to pull the mind into emptiness, where the mind becomes fully concentrated, peaceful, and without any emotion, having ubekkha, no love, fear, hate, or delusion in the mind temporarily. So you should continue on with your focusing on your meditation object. Don't stop until the mind drop into calm, like falling from a high place, and become still, peaceful, and happy. Okay. Let me take a 1 minute break to take a drink of water. I'll be right back. From San Fernando, Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Okay. Thank you, Darren Williams, for the water. When you're first starting meditation, you will be going on and off, like learning to walk, like a baby learning, a child learning to walk. He might be able to walk a few steps and then fall down. And then he gets up again and try to walk again. This is with beginners in meditation. You kind of have uh, stop and go, but keep on trying. Eventually you will be able to practice continuously because you have experienced the result from meditation, and you find that it's better than anything else in this world. And this will keep pushing you to practice more and more, and eventually will push you toward the goal, get you to the goal of becoming enlightened. Anurag Kamalat, good morning Ajahn, very good to see you. Thank you for your teaching. It must be 7 or 8 o'clock now for you in the morning in New Zealand. From Sandy Ong, Ajahn, I practiced meditation online. I encountered my head discomfort during and after meditating and feeling the desire to do more meditation. Is this normal? What should I do? Please advise. Yes, when you encounter discomfort, that's because your mindfulness is not strong enough to calm your mind, and your mind likes to resist you from meditation. So keep training yourself in mindfulness, whether you're meditating or not. Try to keep the mind focused on something like your body or on a mantra. And the desire to do more meditation is normal. It's good, it's a good sign. So try to meditate. Don't be discouraged by some of the obstacles. When you're not succeeding in meditation, don't give up. Just keep training more on mindfulness first before you come and meditate. Because without mindfulness, you will not be successful in your meditation. But if you have mindfulness, you will find that you will succeed in your meditation very easily and quickly. So don't be discouraged. Keep persisting in your effort. Sooner or later, you'll find it a lot easier to meditate. The more you do, the more easy it will become. And eventually, it will become natural to meditate. From Vikil Campbell, Vandami Bante, my question is, if nirvana is eradication of attachment, then what exactly we do in that state of nirvana means? Nothing remains. No, everything still remains. Your body is still alive, your mind still functions. The only difference is that there is no defilements such as love, hate, fear, or delusion left in the mind. The mind still can interact with everybody, everything, every sensual object, and do everything. The only difference is that there is no emotion left in the mind. The mind doesn't react emotionally to anything. It reacts with rationality instead. The mind has complete ubekkha, permanent ubekkha all the time. When the mind reaches nirvana, and it is constantly happy, fully contented, doesn't want or desire anything. From Jinilin Poor, Sadhu Mahajan. The screen shows 22 people seeing. I used to meditate every day, at least once a day. But my concentration is not very strong. I use Bhutto to overcome anything to calm my mind. But I can only meditate for 15 to 30 minutes only. Please advise on how to sit for long hours during meditation. That's because your mind doesn't have enough mindfulness yet. So you should train your mind with mindfulness before you come and meditate. If you can sit only for 15 to 30 minutes and if you want to continue sitting, then you should recite a mantra or you should do some chanting and continue on with your sitting. Then you will be able to sit longer. You cannot longer focus on your breath and you feel like you want to get up, then start reciting Bhutto, 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 or start chanting Itipiso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho mentally. This is another form of meditation. It's actually the way of generating more mindfulness. So it will allow you to sit and meditate more. From Dhamma Path, Dhamma greetings Ajahn, I am from the US. Is it better for a woman to advance her practice by being a Buddhist nun or by following the 8 precepts as a lay person? It's up to each individual. The conditions might be different for different individuals. So if you can practice as a nun, that's probably the best option. But if you cannot practice as a Buddhist nun, then you can practice as a 8 preceptor, as a lay person. It just depends on your your conditions, whether it allows you to become a Buddhist nun or become just a lay 8 preceptors. I understand that being a monk is a good idea for a man. Even after following the 8 precepts for a few months, I have found that it's difficult to advance our practice. Yes, in order to advance, you need to meditate in conjunction with keeping the 8 precepts. Just don't keep the 8 precepts alone and hope that you will advance. The only way that you will advance is the practice of meditation. So try to meditate. Try to train yourself in mindfulness before meditation. Then when the more mindfulness you have, then the more calm, peace, and happiness you will have from meditation. Then you feel that you will want to advance, you will want to practice more and more. So besides keeping the 8 precepts, you have to also train yourself in mindfulness from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. Focus your mind on your body action. Keep watching what your body is doing. This is one way of training yourself in mindfulness. Another way is to recite a mantra, Bhutto, 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 as you continue on with your daily activities. Only stop when you have to think about what you do. If you don't have to think about what you do and your mind wants to think about other things, then you should stop it by reciting a mantra or force it to watch what you are doing. Like when you're brushing your teeth, force your mind to keep watching your action and don't let the mind go someplace else. If you can do this, you will have stronger mindfulness. And when you sit down and meditate, you can become calm quickly and easily. And when you experience the peace and happiness from calm of meditation, you will enjoy and you will want to practice more. This is the way to advance yourself in meditation practice. From Darren Williams, first Eli Ann, Sadhu, Sadhu. Darren Williams, Ajahn, what are your thoughts on Chittantasa meditation from Zen? I don't know anything about it, I'm sorry. So I cannot give any comment on that. From Sandy Ong, Satu, Satu, Satu. From Phoebe Sang, good morning, dear Venerable Ajahn. Thank you for coming online to teach us. Satu, Satu. It must be late at night or in late afternoon for you, 3:30 or 4:30 your time in Toronto. From Manura Kamalat, yes, Tanajan, it is past 8 a.m. in New Zealand. Is it beneficial to do death meditation? If so, what are the correct steps to follow? Thank you. Yes, to do death meditation will remind you that life is impermanent, so that you don't get you don't become lazy, because you know that the clock is ticking away your life. So you want to use every minute of your life for the benefit of the mind by doing meditation. So when you feel lazy or when you feel discouraged from practice meditation, then you can use death meditation by simply thinking about the death that will eventually happen. Death is the stop functioning of the body. When the body doesn't breathe anymore, then the body will not be able to do any benefit for the mind. So this is the purpose of death meditation, to inspire us to practice meditation, not to be discouraged. Because sometimes we feel discouraged and we don't want to do meditation. But when we think about death, then it will spur the mind into action to do more meditation. The correct step to follow, just think about death. Life is impermanent, the body is impermanent. One day, sooner or later, nobody knows when, the body will stop breathing. That's when death comes around. And then you will not be able to use the body to help advance the mind toward enlightenment. So think of the body as something like an automobile that will take you to your destination. But if you don't drive your automobile, then your automobile will not be able to take you to your destination. From Phoebe San, I was meditating earlier and was very sleepy due to lack of sleep. I wasn't able to be mindful. Should I have tried chanting more forcefully? Yes, if you can, silently if possible, mentally, rather than out loud, because you want to bring the mind inside, not outside. If you chant aloud, then the mind still use the body. But when you chant silently, mentally, then the mind doesn't use the body. Another technique to overcome tiredness, thank you, go to sleep. If you really feel tired and there's no other way to overcome, then you just go to sleep, because the body needs its rest. So if the body becomes really tired and there's no other way, then you should just rest, go to sleep, because sometimes you cannot overrule the body. The body will tell you when it needs the rest. From Savika Borata, what do you do when you are in the US and a nurse or more decide to inject you for no reason aside from sadism? Well, if you can avoid the nurse, then avoid the nurse. But if you cannot avoid the nurse, then you just have to recite the mantra Bhutto Bhutto and don't react emotionally or physically. Just If you cannot run away, escape, and you have to be injected with something, then you just calm your mind and don't react. And accept it. This is your karma, the consequence of your karma. Darren Williams replied to Phoebe, count the breath. This will keep the mind interested. Thank you, Darren. From Tavisa FK from Switzerland. Hi, Tavisa. Today Wi-Fi signal is not stable, impermanent. That's right. From YQ Campbell. Bante, what does it mean when we see yellow light while meditating? It means your mind is not yet calm. So ignore the light and continue on meditating. Continuing watching your breath or continuing reciting the mantra until the mind becomes calm. When the mind becomes calm, then everything will disappear. And only thing left is emptiness and peace and happiness. From St. East, thank you, Ajahn. You're welcome. From Darren Williams, have you ever meditated on the element of fire as heat? Did you try feeling the heat? No, I never tried using the fire element. I just use the breath mainly when I meditate. When I'm not meditating, I keep watching the body. Tie the mind to the body, not allowing the mind to go thinking about the past or the future. Keep the mind in the present with the body. So I cannot answer your question, did it help in feeling cool and not so hot? From Nabiti, I am fine, Ajahn, my practice be better now. Thank you for your teaching. But I always feel pain of my body when I take 8 precepts and hard for meditate when I take 8 precepts. What should I do when my kilesa are like that? Just ignore the pain and try to calm the mind by either reciting the mantra or do some chanting before you sit down to meditate. You can always recite the mantra or chant mentally while you go about doing your work. This will calm your mind and then will make the pain of the body bearable to the mind. So just use mindfulness, either reciting a mantra or chanting, or keep watching what your body is doing at the moment. Don't let your mind think about other things. Then the pain of the body will not bother the mind. From Manura Kamalat, thank you, Atanajan. You are welcome. From Phoebe Sen, replying to Darren Williams' suggestion to count the breath. I never tried that. I thought that counting would be too much mental activity. Please kindly explain. Sometimes you need to do counting or reciting a mantra to generate more mindfulness. Once you have stronger mindfulness and your mind feel calmer, then you can come back and focus on your breath. Counting is another form of mantra, like reciting Bhutto, Bhutto. Counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is also like reciting the mantra Bhutto, Bhutto or Anicca, Anicca. This will stop your mind from thinking about other things and then bring the mind to have more mindfulness and focus. So it will be able to focus on your meditation object, your main meditation object, which is the breath. That's why I always insist that you should train your mind in mindfulness first before you meditate, because without mindfulness you will not succeed in meditation. So keep training yourself in mindfulness from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. Tie your mind to something like your body or a mantra. Don't let your mind go wandering thinking about things you don't need to think. If you work and you have to do thinking with your work, then you stop the mantra temporarily and concentrate on what you on your work, thinking only about the work that you do. But once you don't have to think, then if you want to continue on thinking about something else, then you should stop it by reciting a mantra or keep focusing on what you do. For Mandy Smith, what is the difference between nimitta and glowing light? Glowing light is a form of nimitta. Nimitta means vision or something that you experience in your mind. They are all called nimittas. Dreaming is another form of nimitta. When you experience something in your mind, these are all nimittas. They can be good and they can be bad. If you don't know how to deal with them with wisdom, then you should try to ignore them and treat them as anicca, dukkha, anatta. They are mental phenomena that comes and go and that you cannot always control. So the best thing is to just ignore them when they come up and keep focusing on your meditation object instead. From Phoebe Sang, I understand that during one meditation session we should choose one technique and stick to it. Yes, that's the ideal way of doing it. But sometimes your mind is not ready to stick to one object yet because it keeps wandering, going back and forth between the past and the future. Then you need something stronger to stop it from wandering around. And that is chanting or reciting a mantra or counting. And once you can bring the mind back to your main meditation object, then you can then continue on with your your breath meditation. So, but if you cannot stick to your breath, and your mind keeps thinking about other things, then you need something else to bring it back, such as reciting a mantra, chanting, or counting. Is it beneficial to change techniques on different days? It depends on just the state of your mind, whether it's easy to tame or not easy to tame. Sometimes your mind is attached to something, then you need to bring it back to your breath, like reciting a mantra. If you have problem with people, then you should use metta. You should forgive the people who has problem with you. Once you can forgive them, then you will not think of them or be bothered by them. And then you can come back and focus on your breath. But yes, you want to have the main object of meditation, which is your breath. But if you cannot focus on your breath, then you need to have something else to help your mind, to calm your mind and bring your mind back to your breath. If you're angry at people, you should use metta. If you have sexual desire, then you should use asubha, contemplation of the disgusting parts of the body to stop the sexual desire. If you are involved with things of the world, then you should contemplate on death, telling yourself that whatever you do with the world, it doesn't really matter when you die. So then it will stop you becoming involved with the worldly business and bring your mind back to the present, to focus on your breath. Is it beneficial to change techniques on different days? For example, use Bhutto one day, counting next day, and breath on another day. Please advise. Yes, you can try. This is a trial and error method. You just have to experiment to see which one works for you on that particular day. Whichever one that can calm your mind, that's the one that you want to use. But you have to be reasonable. Don't be emotional. Don't change because you feel that this one is not working for you, so you want to change. Even though it might be working for you, it's just that you haven't yet tried hard enough. So sometimes you have to stick to one method for a while to know exactly that this doesn't actually work for you before you switch to another method. Don't switch simply because you don't like this method and you want to try another method. Don't do it because you like or dislike. Do it because it is beneficial or not beneficial, whether it's producing result or not producing result. Don't use emotion when you choose the technique of your meditation. From Gleb Allwich, hello Ajahn, hope you're well. Yes, I am well, thank you. Is stress due to loneliness means that my heart is going out and fantasizing about better times, family, health? Yes, the mind always like to fantasize or crave for things that made it happy. When it cannot get what it used to have, then it becomes lonely, sad. So you should stop the mind from fantasizing by meditating, by watching your breath. If you cannot focus on your breath, then recite a mantra or do some chanting first to get your mind away from fantasizing. When you stop fantasizing, then the feeling of loneliness will disappear and you will feel peaceful, happy. I should know this, but actual feeling can be very intense. Thank you. Yes, when it happens, it can overwhelm your mind and you forget about using mindfulness to deal with it. So you should try to train yourself with mindfulness until it becomes second nature to you. When you feel sad, lonely, or have any mental issues, you can use the mindfulness to deal with it, to stop it, to bring your mind back to normality, to be calm, peaceful, and happy. So keep training yourself in mindfulness until it becomes second nature to you, reciting the mantra until it becomes second nature to you. So whenever you feel bad or sad, you can use the mantra to get rid of that sadness or loneliness. From Phoebe Sang, thank you for all your answers. I used to prefer Zoom meetings because I like imagining I was in a room with you and other students. But now I find this live Q&A format more pleasant because I can focus on your teachings without too much talking from participants. But maybe too much talking is also good because I can become aware of my aversion and try to be mindful. Yes, any method, I think they have their pros and cons. So this method has some pros and have some cons. The Zoom method also has its own pros and cons. So that's why I try to use them both whenever I can. Question from Yannasangwararam, Lebanon. Through Ajahn Suchart Abhijato, Dhamma for the asking. I feel like we could do all the Buddhist practice perfectly, like we could meditate 10 hours, recite all the paritas and mantras, practice metta and the four Brahma Viharas. But if we live in an unsuitable environment, then progress will be tiny, if at all there. How much can we reverse the effect of a negative environment with a strong practice? It's nearly impossible. That's why the Buddha had to leave the palace, because he knew that if he remained in the palace, he would not be able to practice 100%. So you need to get away from the adverse environment, negative environment, and go to a positive, useful environment, like living in a monastery or living alone somewhere in a remote place. Then you will have strong practice. Then you can practice all day long. This will then give you strong mindfulness, which will lead you to deep samadhi and eventually develop wisdom to get rid of your defilements. From Benny Smith, should we have a focal point and a recitation word? When we drop the word, should we still feel the focal point? I think your focal point should be the word itself. Just use the word Bhutto Bhutto as your focal point. Because if you use another focal point, your mind will be you will be divided. You want to unite the mind to become one. So use the mantra, the word itself, as the focal point. And when you drop the word, that means if the word disappears from your mind, that means your mind has entered into emptiness. So use the word as your focal point, not other things. Some people use the breath as the focal point as they recite the mantra. This sometimes might be good in the beginning when your mind is still distracted. But once your mind becomes less distracted, you want to focus on only one object. If you focus the breath, just keep focus on the breath only. If you focus on your mantra, then focus on your mantra only. Use it as your focal point. Then eventually the mind will drop into calm, and then you don't have to recite anymore. Okay, people, we have about 1.5 minutes left before we reach the 1 hour mark. So if you're not typing any question right now, please don't do it. You have to wait until the next meeting. If you are typing the question now, please continue on typing and send them in, because I will have to eventually terminate this meeting. From Kenneth Hunt, good evening, Ajahn. Good evening to you from Switzerland. Is there a link between raga, tanha, and loneliness? Loneliness arises from raga, tanha. Whenever you have this sexual desire and you cannot have a partner, then you feel lonely. But when you calm your mind and get rid of your raga, tanha temporarily, your mind will become peaceful and happy, and the loneliness will disappear. That's why you have to learn how to meditate to calm your mind in order to deal with your raga, tanha. If that kind of desire arises strongly, can that be the trigger for arising of loneliness? Yes, your raga, tanha, your craving, your sexual desire is the cause of your loneliness. So you have to prevent it from arising by either using mindfulness or using wisdom. Wisdom is the contemplation of a sukha. Whenever you think of a beautiful person or a handsome person, then you should look inside that body to see all the unpleasant parts, like the skeleton, the intestines, the heart, the lungs, the liver, and so forth. If you can look at the body that way, then your sexual desire will disappear and loneliness will disappear. From Grave Aldrich, thank you greatly, Ajahn. We are very fortunate to have Buddhist teaching in the world. Yes, we are very fortunate to have the Buddha to give us the Dhamma. Without the Buddha, we would not be here. We would not know what we are doing. One Vimon, Sadhu, Sadhu. VQ Campbell, Bante, sometimes we get entangled in negativity unknowingly. Then how to face such situation because whole world changes for a person and doesn't know what is happening around him. How to overcome such situation. You have to develop more mindfulness. Train yourself in mindfulness. Because the more mindfulness you have, you will become aware of your action. And then you can stop your action before it's too late. Keep training in mindfulness. Mindfulness is very important for the mind. It will it will tell the mind what's going on with the mind, and it will stop the mind when you feel that the mind is doing the wrong thing. From the BT, Anumodana Ajahn Satu Satu. Hui Ku, thank you very much, Ajahn. Sajalka, thank you. Jinilin Kaur, thank you very much, Mahajan, for today's service advice and Dhamma sharing. Satu, Satu. From Kenneth Han, thank you, Tanajan. That answer was very clear. You're welcome. From Pam Helen, thank you for your teaching. You're welcome. Okay, folks, thank you very much for participating in this meeting. I hope it is of some benefit to you and help you advance in your practice. In the meantime, please continue on practicing, be mindful, and meditate as much as possible. I'll see you again the next time. Goodbye for now.